Hello everyone, it's MadDog32, and we are back with some Watch Dogs Legion. We're going to be talking about the Prestige Operatives and the Operatives tab, obviously in the store. Now, first things first, we got to lay down a couple ground rules per se. This is obviously coming from an online perspective. Due to the fact that I think most Operatives are perfectly fine in the main campaign, you can get away with anything. I would not be talking about the 4 DLC characters because I already made a separate video. And we're going to be not ranking per se, but going to be talking about them on a few different levels. Are they worth it? Are they worth the money? Spoiler alert: most aren't. Are they worth the money in a pack? Because they do. Most characters come in a 3 pack if you want to buy all 3. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the requirements. But yeah, we're just gonna have some random gameplay playing in the background as I talk about it. But yeah, let's just get into it. So the first character we're going to be talking about, we're going to go from top to bottom, because that was a release order, was actually the Leopard. So he comes with the AK-47, the AGL, which is a grenade launcher, and the combat role. So the Leopard as a character is actually not that bad. Um, for the longest time, before they released some new characters as of today, because today is September 8th, I believe, at this point, because it's like 12 or something. But as of today, though, they released some new characters, and those are better. But the Leopard, for the longest time, I think personally, was probably the best operative you could buy separately um, by himself, because the grenade launcher and the AK are pretty strong starts. No one else really has that, like, move set. You can't really find that in the world as a drop. So if you got them, you'd be a pretty unique character and have like unique abilities in a way. And combat roll is really nice because it reloads your gun real quick. The AK obviously second best assault rifle in the game, and you have the grenade launcher, which is the grenade launcher is just pretty strong as is, and there's no real downsides to it. But yeah, I think overall though the Leopard is a pretty decent character. I believe it's like $10. Yeah, it'd be $10 to buy him straight, and you have a little coin extra. But like I said, most of these characters I do not think was worth it. But that probably would be the one of the only characters worth buying if you're a newer player and you just want to fast track your way to a decent set of operatives. But yeah, we're going to be moving on to the next character. So the next character we'll be looking at is the Lynx. So they have viral hacking, which increases if you hold the button, it increases the range of the hack. And then they have a dive bomb drone and fast AI hacking, or fast hacking. Uh, yeah, that's interesting. So I think overall that the Lynx is pretty weak as a character. I mean, she's basically a black hat hacker or just a regular hacker or whatever. She has some cool stuff going on because like holding the button increases the range and all that. She can hack stuff fast. But honestly, if you bought her separately on her own, I feel you'd be pretty disappointed because you wouldn't find too much uses for her. And overall, there's just quite a few better characters. Only reason I see it is because people get her for, I believe, the deluxe edition the Lynx comes with, and outside of that, people just like the cat ears, I guess, and stuff. But I think overall the Lynx is probably one of the weaker characters. I don't necessarily want to say the weakest, but she's pretty not useful. But yeah, okay. So on to the next character. So the next character we'll be looking at is the Viper. Now, the Viper actually has some pretty decent perks here. They have the Silence MP5, the Light Step, which makes them hard to be detected, and gain ETO on combat ability. So the funny thing about this is we're not going to get to go gameplay for this, but I think that the Viper actually has pretty decent stats, like as a perks, but like I said, he's pretty middle of the road. I think the Silent 75 would definitely help early on. The Light Step, not really that useful because, I mean, just punch people or be more stealthy. And then the ETO gain on takedown might be nice for an early game player just to, get money fast. But, so now we're just going to really talk about, do I think these characters in the pack are worth it? Because the Lynx, the Leopard, and the Viper all come in one pack called the Urban Jungle Pack. And honestly, I think that's probably one of the better packs you could get, simply because the Leopard's so good and the Viper's okay. even though the Lynx is pretty bad. Two, it's like a 65%, I think, on buying it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the whole Urban Jungle pack. Next, we're going to be moving on to, I believe, like the Street Artist pack or something. But yeah, we'll cut to that. So the first character we got up on the Graffiti Crew pack is the Witch. Now she has a paint bomb, which is a bomb you throw and it like disorients enemies. She has kinetic danger, which this ability is interesting because when you melee attack people, you actually gain gadget charge. And then she has KO punch, which means she doesn't actually have to finish off anyone. So unfortunately, we run to a similar problem again where I don't see the point of buying the Witch. The Witch doesn't have terrible perks, but the fact that she has the ability to recharge her stuff on melee is really nice. But the real problem runs into when you're in combat, you're unless you're in a stealth scenario, you're not going to be able to melee people like that. That's kind of the true problem with her kit. I mean, the only thing she really has that's kind of worth anything is the fact that she has a paint bomb. Because fast knockouts isn't even really that useful as a perk, because there's a lot of ways to like just bypass that, and knocking people out doesn't take that long. And usually, you can stun someone or like jam their gun, like I did right there. So there's not a real reason to be actually like using the Witch. So yeah, I would not recommend picking her up, to be honest. She's very middle of the road, and if anything, kind of bad. But yeah, on to the next character. So the next character we got here is the Warrior. The Warrior, I actually didn't look at her perks that good until now. She's actually got some decent perks going on. She has a paintball gun, which is a non-lethal weapon you can use, and she has a LTX and whatever. I think it's a shock SMG, and she has Albion Vendetta, which is actually a really good perk. So I think it's actually quite interesting because the Warrior doesn't actually, to me, like is not that good. But the fact that she has a shock SMG and a paintball gun is kind of unique, and like I believe even if you have a shock SMG, you could totally switch out for other ones. I believe so. In that sense, kind of unique and kind of useful because you could totally have her use a real one and then use a paintball gun or something like that, or switch it out for the shock SMG or something, so you can use two of those. But I think overall she's okay. I mean, having Albin Vendetta is really nice because that's basically a 50% chance to get more damage on a target. Because it's either Albion or Clan Kelly. There's not really any other factions like that. So I think overall the Warrior is pretty okay. Possibly worth your money. I would still say hold off, but I could totally dig it if you were telling me, yo, the Warrior, I like her. She plays cool, and I like her drip. But yeah, on to the next. So the last character in this set of characters is called the Wings. He has a shock hack that does damage to people. He can summon a shock drone, and he has anti-chase when he's driving cars. So the real problem with this dude, I think, is that everything he has is so fucking niche. It's not that useful overall, and I think he's probably the worst character of this set of characters. So yeah, I definitely not recommend picking him up. The eye patch is cool, but do you really want to spend like $10 for an eye patch? So I honestly would never pick him up. But so that comes to what I think of the Graffiti Crew pack as an overall. I think pretty middle of the road. Pretty middle of the road. It's not as good as the Urban Jungle pack, just because the people in Urban Jungle have real guns and like have other useful abilities per se for early game players or something like that. Uh, I'd still say this is probably a maybe buy. I think the other two characters are pretty not good. So if anything, I'd say buy the Warrior by herself and ignore the other two altogether. But on to the next set. So the next set of characters we're going to be looking at is the Electronic Punk pack. And the first character in that is Crash. She has Shockwave Strike, which does a little AoE stun on basically any melee thing. She has Berserker, which is the best perk in the game. And she has Beatbox, which is actually not really a fucking perk. So I think overall Crash is pretty bad. I mean, the Shockwave perk is cool, and she does come with Berserk, which is pretty strong, which can carry her pretty far. but she's another character I feel like is the epitome of the middle of the road because Shockwave is a nice ability, but it's not that useful. Beatbox is actually not an ability; it's just something you could do with some people, like playing the fucking guitar or something. And maybe that perk might work. Like it says, it just says beatbox, and beatbox in the game normally means just the person does a thing. So unless it's just like the DJs, which I don't think it is, she's kind of not that good to be honest. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting Crash. She doesn't seem that good. Um, Definitely, I'd say skip out on her if you're gonna buy her separately. But all right, on to the next. So the next character we were looking at is Voltage. They come with a grenade launcher, which is pretty strong. Feedback loop, which oh god, someone's hitting me on the outside. Well, which they come with feedback loop, which is an AOE stun, which is pretty strong. It's just like a DJ's perk, so that's already pretty up there. And they come with the Ultra 8, which I believe is the fastest car in the games, which is actually kind of nice. So I think overall, Voltage is actually a pretty decent character. For a while, I would probably say she was the second best. Whoever fuck, I don't know if it's a he or she. I couldn't tell. But yeah, I would say Voltage is actually a pretty good character. They come with a grenade launcher, which isn't amazing, but they have buffed them. It seemed in the last couple patches, and at the beginning of the game, that will probably help out a lot just to have a grenade launcher and just not have to buy the shock one or find someone. So that's actually pretty useful. The Ultor 8, like I said, is possibly the fastest car in the game, which is already pretty nice because you can get around the map and collect your stuff easy. Them having was it temporary loop or whatever the hell, the AOE stun. The AOE stun they have is actually pretty strong, and actually that's kind of why they get bumped up so high because they're kind of like a slightly shittier, slightly better DJ, depending on who you ask. So I think overall Voltage is totally a character worth your time. Um, Totally worth purchasing separately. Unlike the witch or whatever the hell the name, Crash, that was the name. Unlike Crash, but yeah. All right, on to the next character. So the last character in the Electropunk pack is Distortion. Now they come with key steal, which gives them an unlimited range to steal keys. Not that useful, kind of fucking useless to be honest. They have Drone Betray, which is really dumb because it's a perk you can get. So in a way, this character is useful early on, but you can instantly make like this character obsolete almost if you want it to be. Killer Beats though is a really good perk. It's the same perk that DJs roll with. Which is ironic because those other two characters have what's it called? Distortion and Voltage both have DJ perks on them, but separately. But yeah, Killer Beats it buffs the team, so in that way it's kind of nice to like help out the team. But honestly, you can find a better DJ with Berserk and all that other good stuff. So I would not say Distortion's worth it for the long haul. But now let's talk about the Electropunk pack. Voltage is so good that I almost want to say it's worth it because I think Distortion's okay. But the real problem, like once again, lies in the fact that I don't think Distortion's good enough to carry or like even really help out the team enough. It'd be helpful early on, but instantly get obsolete. So I would not suggest buying the Electropunk pack. I would just say only buy Voltage separately, if anything, and you get your money's worth for sure. I think. But yeah, on to the next set of characters. Alright, so the next set of characters we'll be looking at is the Mystic Pack. Now, Vivanova has the LT Dart Gun, which is just a weapon that basically that doctors can roll with. She has the Pocket Watch, which is what hypnotists roll with. They can basically turn someone into an ally. And she has Drone Betray, which once again, we've talked about. It's fucking stupid that's even a thing because you could just get that naturally. So it's kind of cool because you could skip the process, but not really. But yeah, we'll get into what I think about. Viva Nova is an interesting character because she doesn't really do anything crazy, but the interesting thing about her is she hands down might be the best hypnotist. So if you like if you want a good hypnotist on your squad, she's almost worth getting. But at the end of the day, I don't even think her perks are that good. So I would honestly say skip out on it. She's not that good, and honestly not worth your time. Definitely a skip on that one. But yeah, on to the next character. Next character in the Mystic Pack is Callum Chaos. They come with a smoke grenade, which is obviously what it sounds like. Crash Dummy, which reduces, I believe, damage from like vehicles hitting you and stuff. And then they also come with a semi-auto shotgun, which is pretty decent. Shotguns are pretty fucking bad though in this game, so not really much helping out for that character. But yep, we'll just cut to the gameplay now. So overall, I think Callum Chaos is not really worth your time once again. They have some cool stuff going on because they're basically a variant on an anarchist or even a protest leader. They would allow you to get a little bit farther, but the problem with that is the semi-auto shotgun's so not useful that it doesn't really carry the slack for anything. And then you also run into the thing of like, yeah, it's nice to have Crash Dummy, but it's not that useful of a perk. And so at the end of the day, I think Callum Chaos is a definite skip. I would not purchase them separately. But yeah, on to the next character. Alright, so we're on the final character of the Mystic Pack, which is Singularity. They come with an elite cloak, which is basically just another cloak you can use instead of the one you have in your tech tree, which is kind of nice, but not really. They have light step, which obviously reduces detection, and they have viral hacking, which is something we saw in the links a few characters back ago. I'm gonna be real. This character's fucking useless. There's no reason you can get better characters. Albion people, you can get an Albion person with the elite cloak and a shotgun and a weapon, like a melee weapon, and like immunity to gas. Like light step, you can find a bunch of other people, and viral hacking's once again not a useful perk. So I think overall, the Mystics pack is a definite fucking skip. Do not pay money for this, please. For the love of God, their drifts look cool, but they are not at all worth your dime. But yeah, so pretty much the second last pack. So we're gonna be moving on to the last set of characters. All right, and now we're on our final pack, the Reaper pack. So we're going to start with the first character, the Horseman. Comes with a Desert Eagle, Shadow Strike, Shockwave Strike, sorry, not Shadow Strike. Shockwave Strike, which we've talked about before, AoE stuns on everyone when you're punching. Pretty decent. And he comes with a motorcycle, which is kind of nice. So the Horseman is an interesting character because they're not amazing or anything, but I think overall they're pretty decent. So I wouldn't necessarily purchase that character, but if you were like ever just like, I kind of want to get a decent character early on, and you pick them, that wouldn't necessarily hoe you. They have a motorcycle, which is kind of cool. Obviously, having vehicles in this game is fun to have because you could just switch them. Desert Eagle's nice, and Shockwave's pretty useful too when you're trying to go semi-stealth or whatever, because you'll be able to stun a bunch of enemies and be able to get through a fight pretty easily. It might even be slightly better than a melee weapon, only because it can stun multiple people and stuff. But yeah, I think overall the Horseman's above average, but not a purchase I think anyone should be making either. I like I said, above average though. Above average is probably where I'd put him. Our next character we're looking from the Reaper pack is Death. Now Death comes with LMG, which is already pretty good, a gun kata, which is also very good, and priority care, which shorten team injury. Yeah, so we're gonna hop some gameplay, but we're gonna talk about her for sure. So, Death may or may not be possibly the best prestige character you could buy on their own, simply because of what she has. Having Gun Kata already puts her at a very high place, because being able to insta anyone at any point you need to, as long as the gun's in your hand, is pretty useful. That's one of the better parts of a Hitman, for example, or just random characters like this character. Also, I'm playing as has Gun Kata, which is, like I said, amazing. She has an LMG. I've never found anyone with gun kata and an LMG. That is literally unique as shit and super useful because it's not as good as an assault rifle or like an SMG or anything, but it's still better than a pistol or a shotgun or something. So it's like third best, you know what I mean? And then she also comes with shortened team injury, which is something doctors roll with. So if you get death on early on, she'll probably be one of your most valuable fucking teammates on your whole squad, like hands down. Simply just because she will like make your teammates get out faster, and if you ever get stuck into playing her, you won't insta die because she has gun kata and goddamn LMG. So yes, I think Death is probably better than the Leopard, but but just barely, just because that team injury stuff. But yeah, we're gonna be moving on to the final character and the final thoughts on all these prestige characters. Our last character we have here is the Harvest. They have an elite turret spider which can roll on Clan Kelly members, but it's basically just another spider turret. They have AR, like cloak shield, whatever. You put it on a teammate or yourself, and it reduces damage. It's something that first responders roll with, and she has a crowbar, um, which is obviously a lot of people spawn with similar weaponry. It's just a melee weapon, so it's kind of nice because you could do extra damage. But overall, I honestly think the Harvest is fucking useless. She's basically an extra perked goddamn first responder, which you can find in a lot of places, and they tend not to have good perks anyway. The Elite Spider Drone is frankly irrelevant and not useful, so I would not recommend getting her on her own. But overall, the Reaper pack, honestly, is probably the only other pack outside of the Urban Jungle pack I would recommend to you. Death is so strong, and the Horseman is actually pretty decent too, so you can have a lot of fun with him. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for all my thoughts on all these prestige characters. Obviously, we didn't go off the main DLC ones, and I didn't go over the free character Helen. If you want to know, she's terrible. Don't fucking use her. Overall, a lot of these characters aren't useful, and the most useful thing you could probably do for yourself if you want to early start is just buy the fucking season pass, because the season pass characters are probably some of the strongest in the game. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. When we come back in the next one, I don't think there's much planned for Watchdog videos in a while. Might do an update video if they add any more characters. I might just do a single video talking about those characters or something and how I feel about their perks. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch y'all in the next one.